when you look at this, Fady, Fadel, and we can look at some of the other reactions that we've seen in France, and it's been heated reactions on both sides over this. It is such a hot button issue.
I think that the issue is not really a juridical issue. It's such more convenience issue regarding this the Charlie Hebdo, you know, what it had published in one hand, and in other hand, in the very tense context after the American movie, the very cheap American movie, The Innocence of Muslims. So the sensibility of the French Muslims and European Muslims is a little bit very, you know, very tight, and it's, how to say, it could be a provocation for them, and it's the reality. I don't think that this issue is an incitement for religious hatred, but it could be kind of a provocation, especially for those, for example, who will react against the caricatural designs and graphics, and especially according to the Quran and the Islamic legislation, already the Prophet cannot be graphically represented. Already, if you want, for the good thing or the bad thing, the Prophet cannot be represented. So, not Charlie Hebdo is representing the Prophet, but is making kind of new caricatures, which could be interpreted and explained and spelled out as kind of offensive against the faith. But the moderate believers, they are approaching the issue not as, how to say, religious hatred, but such as more provocation. And the moderate believers, they can make kind of a distance between what they are saying, and how they will react. The others who consider that they are really concerned by this caricatural design and graphics, those who are not, how to say, between brackets, moderated, or those who have another agenda, another aim to accomplish, it could be kind of a pretext, you know, in order to make a show off regarding their plans, regarding their superficial faith, etc.
All right, and
sorry, just a second, François. We have to just say something that Charlie Hebdo says it do also this to piss off the Muslim fundamentalists or the political Islam or something like that, which is not true. I mean, these people, the Muslim fundamentalists, they love things like the video, or they love things like Charlie Hebdo because it gives them a lot of, you know, a lot of fuel, because they are saying, the West is like this, look at the West. We all know that the West is not like this. We all know that there's a lot of respect of Islam in Europe or in the US. And we all know, as you said, that the majority of Muslims do respect the law.
But the problem is
might be saddened. But
why the majority of Muslims isn't able to silence this tiny minority? Because we are told in Europe that this is a tiny minority all the time. So, I mean, there's some kind of a surprise. Why the vast majority of moderate Muslims isn't able to stop a little minority to steer this turmoil and this destruction? I don't know. I mean, it's a question. Why? Well, I mean, I think any Westerner is kind of puzzled when we are told, okay, the vast majority is moderate and peaceful and tolerant, and how can be a vast majority, I mean, ruled by a tiny minority of violent, intolerant people like the Salafists? So I think this is the first question. And the second one is, I think that this is an occasion for the Muslims to show their tolerance, because being tolerant is actually bearing that somebody thinks or does things that you don't like. I mean, this is what being tolerant means. I mean, tolerating something is basically not taking action at something which is kind of offensive. But it's not offensive to the Muslims, it's offensive to Muhammad. But so the Muslims are not Muhammad. Some Muslims think they want to be Muhammad, but those are the Salafists. Wow. But this is the problem. And
all right, let's put the question to Tariq. Ramadan, why is it that a very vocal minority is getting so much attention?
Look, it's always the same. I think that if you look at the situation, you have people who are a tiny minority, but they provoke violence and they take to the street and they are vocal, and the media coverage is just bringing something which is a vicious circle, because the journalists are covering this and then they go...
Well, there was a U.S. ambassador killed, and there were 4 killed in Tunis. I mean, there's a reason why there's been media coverage.
But of course, I'm not blaming the media. I'm saying it's a vicious circle where the great majority of the Muslims cannot be. You know, when you are constructing a society, when you come with a vision of the society, you don't make the headlines. So you will just focus on the people who are destroying, because this is news. Destroying is news. Demonstrating is news. Building and being silent is not news. The great majority, once again, look at what is happening in France or in the Netherlands, in other countries.
Being silent is not taking action. If you are silent, you are not speaking against the people who are vocal.
Yeah, of course. The problem, you know, I just launched a call to the contemporary Muslim conscience, asking the leaders and the Muslim scholars to speak out and to ask the Muslims to calm down. The situation is very complex. Why? Because all these demonstrations are mainly coming from, and violent demonstrations are coming from southern societies where there is a great deal of frustrations, and they have nothing to do with religion. It's unemployment, it's corruption, and it's a transitory period. The people were thinking and hoping that changes will come faster. And here we have a group of people coming to direct all these frustrations towards the West and the United States of America. And of course, this is religious populism. And we have this religious populism in many Muslim majority countries and pushing the people towards violence. And we have exactly the same in the West. Today we have populists who are now saying that the Muslims are the enemy, the Muslims, Islam is cancer. So we have two populism being objective allies in the whole business, and we are caught in between. And what I would say here, once again, let it be clear, what Charlie Hebdo is doing now is to use a noble value of freedom of speech to make something which is only to get the media attention. And this is not noble, and this is not freedom of speech.
All right,
this is pure provocation.
Let's hear the reaction of the French Prime Minister, who spoke a short while ago. He warned all sides against acts of hatred and violence.
I have reminded everybody of the government's firmness. We are living in a state of law where there is freedom of expression and of the press, which also covers cartoons, but at the same time, the notion of responsibility exists. As far as public order is concerned, all precautions have been taken in association with the Interior Minister to completely ensure public order.
And we'll talk about it a bit more in part 2, but the fact is that in France there is no law against blasphemy. We'll talk a little bit more in detail about that. But Ammar Rabbo, I just want to show you here. There was a tweet out of Cairo from a BBC journalist there, Shaima Khalil, who quotes Essam Erim of the Muslim Brotherhood, the Freedom and Justice Party, is saying France's judiciary should deal with the cartoons as firmly as it has handled the case of Kate Middleton. Those photos, you know, that have been banned.
It's very different cases, of course. But regarding the justice, I mean, in the affair of the Charlie Hebdo, was it 2006? The first one, yeah. The Muslim institutions of France, was it the Mosque of Paris or the CFCM, reacted in suing the publication, and they lost the case. And it seems to me, I'm not sure 100%, but it seems to me...
They say they're probably not going to sue this time.
Yeah, probably they're not going to sue this time. So it's, I mean, we also have to deal, I mean, a majority of Muslim people and also their representatives come from countries where this tradition, let's say, of blasphemy or of cartoons, etc., does not exist. So
they have to learn.
Yeah, well, they are learning. I mean, if you don't see that, you don't. It's being blind, you know. They're learning, and it's very interesting for me to see that in 2006 they did sue, and nowadays probably they will not. I mean, we're not 100% sure of that, but they probably will not sue. So they're learning. Let's give them time.
The years. That's something we'll see when we get back. The years pass, but in France, the relationship with religion as a whole remains uneasy. Stay with us. It's the France 24 debate.